Today, we have a fascinating tale that not only enriches your English language skills, but also provides insights into a significant period of American history. We strive to present this story with clear and simple sentences to make your learning experience enjoyable and effective. If you find this story helpful and engaging, please don't forget to press the like button as a way to reward us. Your likes and comments are not just appreciated. They motivate us to create more content tailored for English learners like you. So, sit back, relax, and let's embark on this learning journey together. And remember, your feedback is always welcome. So please leave us a comment, sharing your thoughts, or how we can make your learning experience even better. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Early Years. Lyndon B. Johnson, known as LBJ, was born on August 27, 1908, in a small farmhouse in Stonewall, Texas. His family's life was simple, filled with hard work and close connections to the land and community. This chapter explores Lyndon's early years, highlighting the humble beginnings that shaped his ambitious journey. Lyndon was the oldest of 5 children. His father, Samuel Ely Johnson, Jr., was a farmer and a local politician who believed strongly in helping people. His mother, Rebecca Baines Johnson, was a kind and educated woman who loved to read. She taught Lyndon and his siblings the importance of education and hard work from a very young age. The Johnson family did not have much money. Their farm in the Texas Hill Country was beautiful, but life there was not easy. They grew their own food and raised cattle. Lyndon learned to work on the farm at a young age, helping to take care of the animals and the crops. These experiences taught him the value of hard work and perseverance. Despite their financial struggles, Lyndon's parents believed in the power of education. They wanted their children to have opportunities they never had. Lyndon's mother taught him to read before he even started school. She would read stories to him and his siblings, sparking Lyndon's lifelong love for learning. School for Lyndon was a small, one-room schoolhouse. He walked miles to get there every day. Lyndon was a curious student, always eager to learn more. His teachers noticed his determination and often encouraged him to speak in front of the class. These early experiences helped Lyndon become a confident speaker. Lyndon's father, Samuel, often took him to political meetings and speeches. Samuel's involvement in politics made a big impression on young Lyndon. He saw how his father worked to make life better for people in their community. These moments planted the seeds of Lyndon's future in public service. However, life was not always easy for the Johnson family. There were times when they struggled to make ends meet. Lyndon saw the effects of these struggles on his family and neighbors. He understood the challenges of rural life and the importance of community support. These early experiences deeply influenced his beliefs and ambitions. As Lyndon grew older, he became more involved in his community. He took on odd jobs to help his family. He worked as a farmhand, a shoe shiner, and even as a teacher's assistant. These jobs taught him about different people's lives and hardships. Lyndon was determined to make a difference. One of Lyndon's most significant experiences as a young man was his time teaching in Cotulla, Texas. After high school, he took a job as a teacher in a small Mexican-American school. Many of his students came from poor families. They did not have books or even proper clothes for school. Lyndon saw the impact of poverty on education. He worked hard to make his classroom a place of hope and opportunity. He even used his own money to buy supplies for his students. This experience deepened Lyndon's commitment to education and equality. Through all these experiences, Lyndon's early years in Stonewall, Texas, shaped him. The rural life, his family's financial struggles, and his early education built the foundation of his future ambitions. He learned the value of hard work, the importance of education, and the power of helping others. These lessons stayed with him throughout his life, guiding him as he rose to become one of the most influential leaders in American history. Lyndon B. Johnson's journey from a small farmhouse in Texas to the White House is a story of ambition, hard work, and a deep desire to make a difference. His early years taught him about the challenges and possibilities of life. They showed him the importance of community, education, and public service. These lessons would later inspire his efforts to improve the lives of all Americans. As we explore the rest of Lyndon's life, we will see how these humble beginnings influenced his path to becoming a champion for civil rights and a leader in American history. Chapter 2. Stepping into Public Service. Lyndon B. Johnson, known to many as LBJ, was a man whose life was about to change in ways he could never have imagined. After his early years in the quiet, rural settings of Stonewall, Texas, Lyndon found himself at a crossroads. He had witnessed firsthand the struggles of the people around him, and deep inside, a fire was kindled, a desire to make a difference. This chapter of his life marks the beginning of a journey into public service, a path that would eventually lead him to the highest office in the United States. Lyndon's journey into public service began in the small town of Cotulla, Texas, where he took up a position as a teacher. Cotulla was a humble place, and the students Lyndon taught were mostly Mexican-American children from impoverished backgrounds. The experience was eye-opening for Lyndon. He saw the harsh realities his students faced: poverty, discrimination, and a lack of opportunity. The children had dreams and potential, but their circumstances limited their chances for a better future. Lyndon often reflected on his own upbringing in Stonewall, where his family struggled financially, and how education had become his gateway to opportunities. He recognized that education could be the key to unlocking a brighter future for his students. He dedicated himself to his teaching role, not just educating the children academically, but also instilling in them a sense of hope and the belief that they could achieve more. In his classroom, Lyndon was more than a teacher. He was a mentor, a role model, and at times a friend. He initiated after-school programs to further engage his students, teaching them public speaking, debate, and the importance of education. Lyndon's teaching style was interactive and engaging, making learning fun and accessible for all his students. He wanted them to see beyond the confines of Cotulla, to dream of possibilities that lay beyond their small town. Lyndon's genuine concern for his students went beyond the classroom. He saw the disparities in education and resources that affected his students and their families. This realization sparked in him a deeper interest in politics and public policy. Lyndon believed that through political action, he could bring about the changes needed to improve the lives of people like his students. He started to envision a future where he could make a difference on a larger scale. The young teacher's ambitions were fueled further by his time at Texas State Teachers College, where he had previously studied. There, he had been exposed to political ideas and the workings of government, which intrigued him. Lyndon's experiences as a student leader had given him a taste of leadership and its potential to instigate change. These experiences, combined with his teaching stint in Cotulla, solidified his resolve to enter public service. Lyndon's decision to step into the realm of politics was driven by a simple yet powerful motive: to serve and uplift the communities that had been overlooked and underserved. He began by taking small steps, participating in local politics, and using his voice to advocate for education and social reforms. His early political engagements were a learning ground where he honed his skills in persuasion, negotiation, and the art of politics. Lyndon's transition from a dedicated teacher to a budding politician was marked by his deep empathy for the underprivileged and his belief in the power of education as a tool for social change. His journey into public service was not just a career choice, it was a calling. He carried with him the lessons learned in Kotula, the aspirations of his students, and a vision for a better, more equitable society. As Lyndon B. Johnson's story unfolds, it becomes clear that his early steps into public service were guided by a genuine desire to improve the lives of others. His experiences as a teacher in Kotula were transformative, shaping his understanding of the challenges faced by the marginalized and fueling his passion for public service. These formative years laid the foundation for Lyndon's political career, where he would continue to champion the causes of education and social justice. Lyndon's story is a testament to the impact that one individual can have when driven by compassion and a steadfast commitment to service. His journey from the classrooms of Kotula to the corridors of power serves as an inspiration, reminding us of the power of education, the importance of public service, and the potential within each of us to make a difference in the world. Chapter 3. The political climb begins. Lyndon B. Johnson, once a dedicated teacher with a passion for changing lives through education, found himself on a new path that promised broader horizons. His journey into the heart of American politics began modestly, but was driven by the same unwavering commitment to public service that had marked his early career. This chapter tells the story of Lyndon's transition from a local educator to a national political figure, highlighting the first significant steps of his political climb. Lyndon's foray into the complex world of politics began in Washington, D.C., as a congressional secretary for Congressman Richard Clayburgh. This role, though seemingly minor, was his gateway into the corridors of power. In Washington, Lyndon was exposed to the inner workings of the U.S. government and the intricate dance of politics. It was here, in the bustling capital, that Lyndon's political acumen began to sharpen. As a congressional secretary, Lyndon quickly distinguished himself through his hard work, dedication, and an innate ability to understand and navigate the political landscape. He was not just a bystander, he was a keen observer, learning the nuances of legislative processes, building relationships, and identifying the levers of power that could be used to effect change. His days were long, and the work was challenging, but Lyndon saw each task as an opportunity to learn and grow. Lyndon's time in Washington coincided with the Great Depression, a period of significant economic hardship that affected millions of Americans. Witnessing the impact of the Depression and the government's efforts to address it further fueled Lyndon's desire to play a more active role in shaping policies that could improve people's lives. He saw the potential for meaningful change through legislative action and was determined to be a part of it. The turning point in Lyndon's political career came in 1937, when he decided to run for Congress. The sudden death of a Texas congressman had triggered a special election, and Lyndon seized the opportunity to step onto the political stage himself. His campaign was vigorous, and characterized by his now signature determination and persuasive charm. Lyndon travelled extensively throughout his district, speaking directly to the voters, listening to their concerns, and sharing his vision for a better future. Lyndon's efforts paid off when he won the election, becoming a U.S. congressman at the age of 29. It was an impressive feat for someone who had only recently transitioned from a local teacher to a political aide. As a congressman, Lyndon was committed to making a tangible difference in the lives of his constituents. He focused on a wide range of issues, from rural electrification and public works projects to military preparedness and national defense. One of Lyndon's earliest and most significant legislative efforts was his work on the Rural Electrification Act. He understood the transformative power of electricity, how it could bring light, efficiency, and progress to the rural communities similar to the one he had grown up in. Lyndon fought hard to extend electrical power to the countryside, believing that it would improve living standards, boost economic development, and bring the modern world to the doorsteps of rural Americans. Lyndon's advocacy for rural electrification and other social welfare initiatives began to earn him recognition and respect among his peers and constituents. He was seen as a tireless worker, a skilled negotiator, and a politician who genuinely cared about the welfare of the people he represented. Lyndon's ability to connect with both the powerful and the powerless, to speak the language of the people while navigating the complexities of legislation, set him apart. The early years of Lyndon's congressional career were marked by his growing influence in Washington. He was not content to simply go along with the status quo. He sought to shape it, to mold it into something better. His efforts were not always met with success, and the challenges of politics were many, but Lyndon remained undeterred. He believed in the possibility of change, in the power of government to do good, and in his role as a catalyst for that change. Lyndon's political climb was a testament to his ambition, his vision, and his unwavering commitment to service. From the humble beginnings in Stonewall, Texas, to the halls of Congress in Washington, D.C., Lyndon B. Johnson's journey was a reflection of his dedication to the ideals of democracy and his belief in the potential of every individual to contribute to the betterment of society. Chapter 4. War and Marriage. In the life of Lyndon B. Johnson, two significant events would profoundly shape his future: his brief but impactful service in World War II and his marriage to Claudia Alta Taylor, affectionately known as Lady Bird. These experiences not only influenced his personal life, but also his political trajectory, offering insights into the character and priorities of the man who would one day lead America. As the world found itself embroiled in the turmoil of World War II, Lyndon felt a strong sense of duty to serve his country. Despite his rising political career, he insisted on participating in the war effort, showcasing his patriotism and commitment to public service. In 1941, Lyndon was commissioned as a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Naval Reserve, stepping into a new role that would test his leadership and resolve in the face of global conflict. Lyndon's military service was brief but significant. He was assigned to inspect shipyard facilities in Texas and later served in the South Pacific, where he participated in a bombing mission over enemy territory. Although his time at war was short, the experience left a lasting impression on him. It reinforced his understanding of the sacrifices made by soldiers and their families, deepening his commitment to supporting veterans and their needs. His military service would later influence his legislative efforts, particularly in areas related to national defense and veteran affairs. Parallel to his military endeavors, Lyndon's personal life was taking a pivotal turn. In 1934, he met Claudia Alta Taylor, a young woman from Karnak, Texas, who would become the love of his life and an integral part of his political journey. Lady Bird, as she was known, was not only a supportive partner but also a savvy political advisor and a stabilizing force in Lyndon's life. Their courtship was whirlwind and intense, with Lyndon proposing marriage on their first date. Despite the suddenness of the proposal, there was a deep connection between them. Lady Bird saw in Lyndon a man of ambition and complexity, someone who shared her values and her desire to make a meaningful contribution to the world. After a brief courtship, they married on November 17, 1934, in a small ceremony in San Antonio, Texas. The marriage of Lyndon and Lady Bird was a partnership in every sense. Lady Bird's calm demeanor balanced Lyndon's often intense and demanding personality. She was his confidant, his most trusted advisor, and a constant presence in his political life. Lady Bird's intelligence, grace, and understanding of the political landscape were invaluable assets to Lyndon as he navigated the complexities of his career. She played a critical role in his campaigns, managing logistics, engaging with voters, and providing moral support. Together, Lyndon and Lady Bird faced the challenges and triumphs of public life. Their partnership was tested by the demands of political campaigns, the pressures of legislative duties, and the scrutiny of public life. Yet their commitment to each other and to their shared goals remained unshaken. Lady Bird's influence on Lyndon was profound, encouraging him to pursue his ambitions while also reminding him of the importance of compassion, kindness, and humility. The war and his marriage marked a period of growth and introspection for Lyndon. These experiences deepened his understanding of leadership, sacrifice, and the significance of personal relationships. They also highlighted the importance of partnership, both in marriage and in public service, reinforcing the idea that behind every successful person is a team of supporters who share in their struggles and successes. As Lyndon's political career continued to ascend, the lessons learned during this time would serve as a foundation for his future endeavors. The resilience and determination he displayed in the face of adversity, the deep sense of duty instilled by his military service, and the unwavering support of his wife, Lady Bird, would all play critical roles in shaping the leader he would become. Chapter 5. The Road to the Senate. The journey of Lyndon B. Johnson to the United States Senate is a tale of ambition, determination, and political savvy. This chapter of his life story unfolds in the post-World War II era, a time when America was on the brink of monumental change, and Lyndon was poised to play a pivotal role in shaping the nation's future. After serving in Congress, where he championed the needs of his constituents and made significant strides in legislation, Lyndon set his sights on a more ambitious goal, the United States Senate. The Senate was a place of power and prestige, where national policies were debated and the course of American history was often determined. For Lyndon, winning a seat in the Senate was not just a step up in his political career, it was a chance to influence the country on a grander scale. The road to the Senate, however, was fraught with challenges. Texas politics were notoriously competitive and often rough, with candidates engaging in intense campaigns to win the support of voters. Lyndon faced stiff competition from well-established politicians who were also vying for the Senate seat. But he was undeterred. Armed with a deep understanding of the political landscape and a burning desire to make a difference, Lyndon launched into one of the most vigorous campaigns of his career. Lyndon's campaign strategy was multifaceted. He traveled tirelessly across Texas, reaching out to voters in towns and cities, large and small. He spoke passionately about the issues that mattered to Texans: economic prosperity, national security, and social welfare. Lyndon's charisma and ability to connect with people shone through in these encounters. He listened to their concerns, shared his vision, and promised to fight for their interests in the Senate. One of the hallmarks of Lyndon's campaign was his innovative use of media. Recognizing the growing influence of radio and print advertising, he leveraged these platforms to extend his reach. His messages were crafted to resonate with the everyday Texan, emphasizing his humble beginnings, his achievements in Congress, and his commitment to public service. This strategic use of media played a crucial role in building his popularity and expanding his support base. Lyndon also understood the importance of building a strong campaign team. He surrounded himself with talented and loyal aides who shared his vision and worked tirelessly to advance his candidacy. Together, they orchestrated a campaign that was both strategic and relentless, covering every corner of the state and leaving no stone unturned in their quest for votes. As the campaign progressed, it became clear that Lyndon was a formidable contender. His energy and dedication, coupled with his persuasive oratory skills, made him stand out among the candidates. However, the road to victory was not easy. The campaign was marked by intense rivalries, with opponents launching attacks in an attempt to undermine Lyndon's credibility and appeal. But he remained focused, countering the challenges with grace and continuing to press forward with his message of hope and progress. The climax of the campaign came on Election Day, a moment of high tension and anticipation. Lyndon, along with his supporters, waited anxiously for the results. When the votes were finally counted, it was clear. Lyndon B. Johnson had won the election, securing his place in the United States Senate. The victory was a testament to Lyndon's hard work, strategic thinking, and deep connection with the people of Texas. It marked a significant milestone in his political career, catapulting him into the national spotlight and setting the stage for his future contributions to American society. As a newly elected senator, Lyndon wasted no time in making his mark. He brought to the Senate the same energy, determination, and vision that had characterized his campaign. From his very first days in office, he worked tirelessly to address the issues he had campaigned on, advocating for policies that would promote economic growth, strengthen national defense, and improve the welfare of the American people. Lyndon's journey to the Senate was more than just a political triumph. It was a reflection of his unwavering commitment to public service and his belief in the power of government to effect positive change. Through his perseverance and dedication, he had risen from the humble beginnings of a Texas teacher to a prominent position on the national stage. And as he embarked on this new chapter of his life, Lyndon was ready to face the challenges ahead with the same resolve and passion that had brought him this far. The road to the Senate had been long and arduous, but for Lyndon B. Johnson it was just the beginning. Ahead lay even greater challenges and opportunities to shape the future of America. His story reminds us that with determination, hard work, and a commitment to serving others, it is possible to overcome obstacles and achieve remarkable success. Lyndon's legacy as a senator would be defined by his contributions to the nation, his leadership in times of crisis, and his enduring impact on American politics and society. Chapter 6. Master of the Senate. Lyndon B. Johnson, known as LBJ, stepped into the United States Senate with a vision to lead and a determination to make a significant impact. His journey from the humble beginnings in Texas to the corridors of power in Washington had prepared him for this moment. As he took his place in the Senate, Lyndon was ready to use his skills and passion for public service to shape the future of America. Lyndon's rise to prominence in the Senate was not immediate. It required patience, strategy, and an innate understanding of the political landscape. The Senate was a place of tradition and slow change, where seniority often dictated influence. However, Lyndon was not deterred by these challenges. Instead, he saw them as opportunities to innovate and excel. One of the first things Lyndon did was to learn everything he could about his fellow senators. He believed that understanding people was key to influencing them. Lyndon made it his mission to know each senator's interests, concerns, and ambitions. He used this knowledge to build relationships, forging alliances across party lines, and breaking down barriers that had previously hindered progress. Lyndon's ability to connect with people was matched by his mastery of the legislative process. He immersed himself in the rules and procedures of the Senate, quickly becoming an expert. This expertise allowed him to navigate the complexities of Senate operations, finding ways to expedite bills that were important to him and his vision for America. As Lyndon's influence grew, so did his leadership roles. He was appointed to key committees, where he had a direct impact on shaping legislation on a wide range of issues, from education and healthcare to civil rights and national security. Lyndon's commitment to these causes was driven by his belief in the power of government to improve the lives of ordinary Americans. Lyndon's tenure in the Senate was marked by his leadership of the Democratic Party in the Senate. As the majority leader, he transformed the role into one of significant power and influence. Lyndon's leadership style was unique. He was both a forceful leader and a skilled negotiator, known for his ability to persuade, cajole, and sometimes even intimidate to get things done. One of Lyndon's most notable achievements in the Senate was his work on civil rights legislation. Despite the deeply entrenched resistance to civil rights in Congress, Lyndon made it his mission to push forward with legislation that would end segregation and discrimination. His efforts culminated in the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1957, the first civil rights legislation since Reconstruction. It was a testament to Lyndon's skill as a legislator and his commitment to justice and equality. Lyndon's leadership in the Senate was not without controversy. His aggressive tactics and desire for control earned him both admiration and criticism. However, there was no denying his effectiveness. Under his leadership, the Senate became a more efficient and productive body, passing a wide range of legislation that addressed the pressing issues of the time. Lyndon's time as Master of the Senate was a defining period in his political career. It showcased his unparalleled political skills, his vision for America, and his unwavering commitment to public service. Lyndon's legacy in the Senate was marked by significant legislative achievements and a style of leadership that would influence generations of lawmakers. As Lyndon's influence in the Senate reached its peak, he began to eye a higher goal, the presidency. The skills and relationships he had developed in the Senate would prove invaluable in his quest for the White House. His mastery of the Senate was not just a chapter in his career. It was the foundation for his future ambitions and his vision for the country. Lyndon B. Johnson's journey from a young congressman to the master of the Senate is a story of ambition, determination, and political acumen. It is a reminder of the power of leadership and the impact one individual can have on the course of history. As Lyndon looked towards the future, his experiences in the Senate would guide him in the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. Chapter 7. Vice Presidency. Lyndon B. Johnson's journey to the vice presidency was a turning point in his storied career. After mastering the intricacies of the Senate, Lyndon faced a new challenge that would test his skills and resolve in unforeseen ways. The vice presidency under President John F. Kennedy offered Lyndon a unique vantage point from which to influence the nation, albeit in a role that was markedly different from his previous positions of power. The decision to accept the vice presidential nomination was not straightforward for Lyndon. Known for his ambition and his dominant presence in the Senate, transitioning to a role traditionally seen as less influential was a significant change. However, Lyndon saw the vice presidency as a platform to continue his lifelong commitment to public service and to support the young and charismatic President Kennedy in shaping a new vision for America. The early days of Lyndon's vice presidency were marked by adjustment and learning. Accustomed to the direct power of legislative leadership, Lyndon found the vice presidency to be constrained, with fewer opportunities to directly influence policy. Yet, Lyndon's resilience and adaptability shone through as he sought ways to contribute to the administration's goals. Lyndon took on a range of assignments from President Kennedy, from representing the United States on the international stage to engaging with key domestic issues. One of his significant roles was overseeing the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, where he played a pivotal part in advancing the United States space exploration efforts during the height of the space race with the Soviet Union. Lyndon's leadership helped to galvanize support for the space program, culminating in the historic achievements that would eventually lead to the moon landing. Despite these contributions, Lyndon's tenure as vice president was not without its challenges. He often found himself on the periphery of Kennedy's inner circle, a shift from his previous role as a central figure in decision-making processes. This period tested Lyndon's patience and political acumen as he navigated his role within the administration, striving to maintain his influence and continue his work for the American people. The dynamics of Lyndon's relationship with President Kennedy and his advisers were complex. While respectful of the president, Lyndon occasionally felt sidelined, missing the direct engagement with policy and legislation he had enjoyed in the Senate. Nevertheless, Lyndon remained a loyal vice president, supporting Kennedy's agenda and working diligently to promote the administration's priorities, both at home and abroad. The most defining moment of Lyndon's vice presidency came on November 22, 1963, with the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas. This tragedy thrust Lyndon into the presidency, an unforeseen and sudden transition that would change the course of his life and the future of the nation. The weight of this moment cannot be overstated, as Lyndon was sworn in as the 36th President of the United States aboard Air Force One, with the eyes of a grieving nation upon him. Lyndon's vice presidency was a time of significant personal and professional growth. It was a period that prepared him for the immense responsibilities he would face as president. His experiences as vice president, both the triumphs and the trials, shaped his approach to leadership and his vision for the country. Chapter 8. The Tragedy in Dallas. November 22, 1963, started as a day full of promise for Lyndon B. Johnson, the Vice President of the United States. He was in Dallas, Texas with President John F. Kennedy on a trip meant to mend political fences and gather support for the upcoming election. The sun was shining bright in Dallas, reflecting the hopeful spirit of the president and his team. Little did anyone know that this day would end in a tragedy that would change America forever. The presidential motorcade, a long line of cars carrying the president, his wife Jackie Kennedy, Vice President Johnson, and many others, moved slowly through the cheering crowds in Dallas. People had gathered in large numbers to catch a glimpse of their charismatic president. The atmosphere was vibrant, filled with excitement and admiration for President Kennedy. As the motorcade entered Dealey Plaza, a series of loud, shocking sounds broke the air. At first, some thought they were fireworks, part of the celebration. But the harsh reality soon set in. Those were gunshots. In a matter of seconds, joy turned into horror. President Kennedy had been shot. The motorcade rushed out of Dealey Plaza, speeding towards Parkland Memorial Hospital. The cars carried a gravely wounded president and a nation's shattered dreams. Lyndon B. Johnson, who was a few cars back when the shooting happened, was quickly secured by the Secret Service. Confusion and fear were palpable among everyone as they tried to grasp the enormity of what had just occurred. At the hospital, the grim news was confirmed. President John F. Kennedy was pronounced dead. The loss was devastating, a wound to the heart of America and to all who believed in Kennedy's vision for the country. In that moment, Lyndon B. Johnson faced the monumental task of stepping up to lead a nation in mourning. The transition of power had to be swift and unambiguous to reassure a shocked and grieving nation. Thus, aboard Air Force One, the plane that carried them to Dallas but was now taking them back to Washington, D.C., Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in as the 36th President of the United States. The ceremony was simple yet profound, with Johnson taking the oath of office standing next to a somber Jackie Kennedy, who was still wearing her pink suit stained with her husband's blood. This image, captured in black and white photographs, became a symbol of one of the darkest days in American history. It marked the beginning of Lyndon B. Johnson's presidency under the most challenging circumstances imaginable. He was acutely aware of the gravity of the situation and the expectations resting on his shoulders. Johnson knew he had to unite a nation in grief and lead them forward. The tragedy in Dallas was not just an assassination of a president. It was an event that tested the resilience of American democracy. It reminded everyone of the fragility of peace and the importance of leadership during times of crisis. For Lyndon B. Johnson, it was the start of his unexpected presidency, a role he had not sought at that moment, but was prepared to take on with all the strength and dedication he could muster. In the days and weeks that followed, President Johnson addressed the nation, calling for unity and for the continuation of Kennedy's vision. He urged Americans to come together, to heal, and to work towards a better future. Johnson's leadership during this critical time helped steady a nation rocked by loss and uncertainty. The tragedy in Dallas would forever be a defining moment in Lyndon B. Johnson's life and presidency. It thrust him into the spotlight at a time of national crisis, challenging him to lead with compassion, resolve, and vision. This chapter in American history is a poignant reminder of the unpredictability of life and the enduring strength of the human spirit to overcome adversity. As we reflect on the events of November 22, 1963, we remember not only the loss of a beloved president, but also the emergence of a new leader who faced the daunting task of guiding a nation through its darkest hours.